To continue with unrelated diversification, let's look at pump manufacturer, right? Today there is a pump manufacturer which makes slurry pumps. Okay, now who are his customers? His customers are industrial units. He's got industrial customers, large companies who buy his pumps. Where is the bargaining power? Is the bargaining power with him, or is the bargaining power with his buyer? It's with the buyer, because the buyers are all large companies. If he plans to enter the home water filter market, is that a good idea or a bad idea? It's a good idea, because when he enters the home water filter market, the banks will be more prepared to finance him, because the home water filter market is a rapidly growing market, right? Therefore, he gets better access to capital markets. So here is the instance of unrelated diversification giving you better access to capital markets. Let's take another instance. We are talking about companies entering different fields, right? We are talking about ITC, okay, having entered 4 different fields. But you must recall that ITC has the history of being a company which has always promoted managerial talent within the company, right? It has ensured that it has the expertise required to be able to handle this kind of unrelated diversification. Let's look at other groups, other business groups in India. Now, if you look at the Tatas, right? The Tatas are in probably 60 different fields, 60 different industries in India, right? But the Tatas again have developed their own management expertise. There is the Tata Administrative Services, TAS, which is run like the Indian Administrative Services. The IAS is oriented towards producing administrators for to take care of governmental tasks at different levels. The Tata Administrative Service is oriented towards producing managers for the Tata Group to be able to move them around the Tata Group, and there is a very conscious program by which these TAS graduates are selected, and then they have a training program where they are sent from one Tata unit to another Tata unit. They are sent to different functional areas. So they move around different industries, they move around different functional areas, and at the end of this whole process, they are well fitted, well trained to be able to handle corporate growth, to be able to handle unrelated diversification. Now, let's consider another business group. Let's take the Aditya Birla Group, right? Now, I'm talking about the 70s, when there were virtually no Indian businesses investing overseas. But the Aditya Birla Group was amongst one of the first Indian businesses to move into Southeast Asia, to invest in Indonesia, to invest in Thailand, and these investments, to invest in Malaysia, and these investments have now matured. right? Now, a group like the Aditya Birla Group is another group like the Tata Group, which has grown its own managerial talent within the group, right? It has grown its talent, it has equipped itself to be able to handle the tasks of unrelated diversification. On the other hand, there are several business groups in India which I wouldn't like to name, which you can take a look around and you will be able to spot these groups who have entered different areas, right, who have moved away from the area where they began, from the area with which they were comfortable, and who have found that they don't really have the capability to handle these new areas, and then they have decided to come back and focus again on the business area that they started off with. So, when you are considering a strategic option that involves unrelated diversification, you need to convince yourself that your company has the capability to go in for this kind of move. Okay, that brings us to the question, if diversification has these risks, right? The risk of entering into unfamiliar markets, right? The risk of dealing with unfamiliar suppliers, okay? If it has these kind of risks, then why do companies at all go in for diversification? Companies go in for diversification because of the issue of synergy, right? Now, what is synergy? Synergy can best be expressed by the equation that you have on the slide, which is that 1 plus 1 is greater than 2. Okay? This is the whole principle of synergy. Now, let's take an example. You have a company which manufactures soaps. Okay? That company, therefore, for its business, is familiar with a certain distribution channel, the shops, right? The grocery stores in a particular area. Now, if that company were to also manufacture, right, cleaning liquids for homes, right? Now, what happens is that the cleaning liquids for homes are marketed using the same channel. Salesmen of the company who visit dealers, who visit retail shops to persuade them to stock their products, stock their soaps. Now you will have salespersons visiting these shops to persuade them to stock their cleaning liquid, right? So what happens is that the exposure of the company to the distribution channel increases. It is now a situation where the company has people going to promote two different products in the same broad business area. When a salesperson goes to a shop to promote the company's cleaning liquid, he is inadvertently also promoting the company's soap. In the same way, when the salesman goes to promote the company's soap, he is inadvertently promoting the company's cleaning liquid. Therefore, this is the case of 1 plus 1 being greater than 2. because each of them reinforce the other. Now, this is one kind of synergy. Here we are talking about synergy in the area of marketing. Okay? Now, synergy also applies to different functional areas. Let's look at a case of operating synergy. Okay? Now, let's say we have a company which manufactures sausages. Now, sausages, it's very important that sausages are delivered to the end user in a cold situation, in a cold environment, to ensure that decay does not take place. Right? Now, if that same company were to move into ice cream manufacture, okay, ice creams again would require refrigerated transport. So you have both products which have otherwise nothing in common. There is nothing in common between sausages and ice creams, nothing at all in common in terms of manufacture. But when it comes to the distribution, right, you find that both of them would use a refrigerated chain. Okay, so there's tremendous operating synergy. There's tremendous operating synergy because the people who deal with the refrigerated distribution system for ice cream will reinforce the company's image for sausages and the other way around. Therefore, here again we are talking about 1 plus 1 is greater than 2. Then let's take the case of synergy in the area of investment. Okay, right. Now you are all aware that when it comes to the pharmaceutical sector, there is significant R&D investment required. Significant R&D investment required to produce new drugs. Right? Now, if the company can use a common R&D setup, okay, to produce a variety of different products, then again there is a lot of learning that takes place internally within the company. For instance, you have a company like Dabur, right? Now, Dabur produces a variety of products from herbal sources. Okay. Now, the R&D expenditure for Dabur is spread amongst various kinds of products, but the expenditure for each one of these products reinforces expenditure for the other products, because it's all, there is a tremendous amount of common learning that takes place from this investment. So here is a case of investment synergy. Finally, you have the issue of management synergy. Okay. Perhaps the best example of management synergy is the example of telecom companies, mobile telecom companies planning to enter the banking sector. Right? Now, on the face of it, there is nothing common between telecom and banking, right? But why is it that these mobile telecom companies are looking at the banking sector to grow? Now, let's look at the typical mobile company. That company has expertise in making small collections from a large number of people. This is their expertise. The whole business model of a mobile telecom company depends on making small collections from a large number of people. Mobile banking means very much the same thing. Mobile banking is again a question of transferring funds, transferring small funds from a large number of people, many of whom are today outside the banking sector. Okay? So, here is a question of management synergy, the ability to handle a certain kind of transaction. That is the management expertise which is being shared between different operations, and because of that sharing, 1 plus 1 is greater than 2. What we see here is different ways in which synergy contributes to diversification as a strategic option. Diversification is a difficult strategic option. However, if these kinds of synergies can be brought in to bear on diversification, it becomes a very interesting option for the company.